You can't claim to be Arab and Muslim, which the Palestinians proudly do, while also claiming to be indigenous to the land your empire conquered. These colors on their flag represent the Islamic caliphates, which conquered half the civilized world at the time. Arabs and Muslims are the occupying and dominant force across the Middle East and North Africa. This is why 2 billion people in the world are Muslim.
Hey folks, this is the other Barak. I'm coming to you live and direct here from the Holy Land in Israel. We have a video today of Zach Ross, who is an incredible voice of reason for the Jewish people in the state of Israel, telling you the facts about the number of Arab and Muslim countries and what they have claimed to. If you have not already, by the way, please, it would just mean the world to me if you could press that subscribe button right below this video, smash that button and press that bell icon so that you are notified and ready whenever we put out videos here. Welcome, let's get into it.
How many countries can Arabs and Muslims lay claim to? Serious question. There are 57 Muslim countries on this planet, 22 of them are Arab, and now they're claiming to also be indigenous to the land of Israel. Here's the thing, you can't claim to be Arab and Muslim, which the Palestinians proudly do, while also claiming to be indigenous to the land your empire conquered. These colors on their flag represent the Islamic caliphates, which conquered half the civilized world at the time. Arabs and Muslims are the occupying and dominant force across the Middle East and North Africa. This is why 2 billion people in the world are Muslim. Imagine a person living in America proudly claiming to be a British Christian while also claiming to be Cherokee. It's insane. Being indigenous means having a distinct language, culture, and connection to the land that predates colonization. But the Palestinian collective boasts about being Arab and Muslim, clinging to the identity of the conquerors, not the conquered. There is nothing distinct about their culture, language, or religion. In fact, it's that of the imperialists. Yet they feed on Western ignorance, on people who know nothing about the Middle East, people living in the US, Canada, France, the UK, who feel guilty about their own colonial past. I guess that's how they sell the lie that Arabs and Muslims are indigenous and are able to rebrand a Muslim conquest movement as anti-colonial liberation. See, in the Western liberals' obsessive quest for moral purity, they think they're fighting colonialism when in fact, they're supporting it. Before the Arab-Muslim conquests, Lebanon was Phoenician, Jordan was Nabatean, Syria was Aramaean and Assyrian, Egypt was Coptic, Iran was Persian, Zoroastrian, Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria were Amazigh, and Israel was Jewish. The only reason that Arabs and Muslims exist anywhere in these lands is because their ancestors committed genocide on the indigenous people and forced Islam on them. You can hate what I'm saying because it's not popular, but you can't prove me wrong.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about this on the channel before, about how people claim that Palestine was a country. And, you know, I made a video a few weeks ago on Instagram that got a lot of attention because I said in the beginning that it's not meant to antagonize. It literally is just meant to share truth about the history of what has been in this region, from the tribes of Israel to the Israelites to the Ottomans to the Assyrians to the Babylonians to the Romans to the Byzantines to the British Mandate. I know I'm going out of order here. I'm just saying, like, I would say that there has been everything in this land besides a Palestinian state. And there has never been a Palestinian state. There's never been a sovereign nation in all of human history that has been the state of Palestine considered a full sovereign country. Not in ancient times, not in the Ottoman era, not in the British era, not since 1948, nor before 1948. The entire region before the early 1900s, 1917, was Ottoman territory for 400 years. There was no Palestinian government. There was no Palestinian currency. Palestinians didn't even have a passport. No borders controlled by Palestinian Authority. And by the way, you know, you could make the claim that there was no Israeli state established, right, before 1948. That's not true. You can't make that claim because it is our ancestral homeland. Back with hunter-gatherers, they weren't claiming states. They had settled in land. They had found their land. They had created their land. They had created their tribes. They had created their culture. They had created their language. They didn't even know there was no such thing as states at that time. But that was their indigenous homeland. They found their way, migrated, went through, you know, flooding, hurricanes, disasters. I'm talking to even post-Ice Age, 12,000 years ago. But even after World War I, the League of Nations gave Britain the land. They gave this land a mandate, of this land to Britain after World War I. In this case, there's still no Palestinian state. There's no Palestinian parliament. There's no declaration of independence either for them. Isn't that a big conversation that we should be having about the fact that Israel and the Jewish people did declare independence? And in 1947, there was a partition offer, and people, hearing me say this out loud makes me think like, God damn, how much longer can people hear this shit? But it's really true, because the UN did offer the Arab population their first chance at having a Palestinian state in history as a real sovereign state. But the Arabs decided to reject an opportunity to have a Palestinian state. The Arab League told them to reject the opportunity to have a sovereign nation. Do you know who accepted it? Israel accepted it. The Arabs didn't. And so in this case, you didn't have a Palestinian state. And by the way, after Israel declared its independence from 1948 to 1967, the West Bank was controlled by Jordan, and the Egyptians were controlling Gaza. This is a very inconvenient truth for those who don't like Israel and are anti-Zionist, that do not like to condemn both Jordan and Egypt for their occupation and Jordan's current occupation over Al-Aqsa Mosque and that entire compound. So neither Jordan or Egypt created a Palestinian state. Neither of them offered citizenship to the Palestinians. They didn't offer them passports. They didn't offer them sovereignty. And you see during the war now how they haven't even opened up their borders for them. So the first time now where you have people like on a really large scale screaming, the Palestinians are being deprived of their rights. The Palestinians are not being given equal opportunity. The Palestinians are being treated inside of an open air prison. The Palestinians are at the receiving end of an apartheid state. The Palestinians and the militia groups associated with them in this region have chosen intentionally to never declare independence. They've declared war. When one side wants to declare independence and the other side wants to declare war, it's pretty clear as to which side is trying to pursue some sort of a solution here. Well, there's really no perfect solution in the Middle East, and which side is trying to avoid solution and cause havoc. So, sure, Oslo Accord signed, whatever, but it doesn't matter because there was still an initiative by radicals to say, how could you ever declare peace with the Jews and with Israel, excuse me. So I don't understand how we're continuing to use language of like Israel's destroying Palestine. Which Palestine? What Palestine? People pull up these ancient maps of Palestine. There was never a state. If somebody in the comment section, correct me if I'm wrong, could tell me exactly when we had a Palestinian state, who the prime minister of that state was, what did their government look like, walk me through that process. I would love to learn. I'm always the first person here on this platform to get up here and say we didn't have that right, but there was no map, there was no flag, there was no currency, there was no government, there was no borders, there was no sovereignty that had ever existed. Period, end of story. It is not up for debate. Your emotions can't debate that. Rationality must be able to accept it, though. It's not an opinion. This is not my opinion speaking. This is not Barack's opinion speaking. This is just history. History is hard for people to hear. I'm sorry, because you're stuck in a paradigm, and suddenly when somebody tries to poke at your bubble and poke at the paradigm, the shift takes a very long time, which is why obviously we have all of this divide here in this conflict. But there has never been a Palestinian state. And in what world do, by the way, the people who are trying to create one right now in this region, and in what world can you, me, or anyone else, given the landscape of the geopolitical status here in Israel, justify to me why a 53rd, is it 53rd? Another Muslim country would do us any good, Justify that for me too in the comments section. Please stick around. I have a note for you. Thank you so much for all of your support. Love you. Here are 4 ways you can help us grow if you believe in our mission. On Buy Me a Coffee and PayPal, you can directly contribute to helping this message grow and reach more people across the world. If you want to join the inner circle, join our Patreon with different tiers, and of course, our Discord community, which is free with people from all across the world. The links to every single one are in the description. And last but not least, to the other Barak community, I love you. Ani ohev otchem. I'll see you guys next time.